today's lecture is basically on autonomic centers, brainstem and hypothalamus. Yesterday, we have studied this whole neurotransmitters and regarding the receptors of the neurotransmitters. So yesterday we finished all these receptor things. Okay, so this is the 6th edition of book. In the 6th edition, one thing is not given over here. After this autonomic centers, brainstem and hypothalamus, they have not given the cells of this, and they have directly started the sensory systems, the sensory receptors. So I will add that portion after this, okay? And I will send you the picture of that page from my book, which is 5th edition. Okay, this PDF is 6th edition, so do not worry about that. Okay, so let's begin. Autonomic centers, brainstem and hypothalamus. Some people said yesterday that I can like make these lectures in Urdu, but there are few students of mine who are like not Pakistani. Okay, so they do listen the recordings, so it would be like in English throughout. Okay, acha. You know, we have certain centers for blood pressure control, for respiratory control, for swallowing, coughing, vomiting. Okay, then we say this is the pneumotaxic center, the micturition, the feeling of to pass urine, and temperature regulation, thirst, and food intake. We have these centers for everything. Okay, and in here they have just written the names of it. But if you're like right now listening to me and following this lecture, so you have to, you know, write a bit of detail about it, so that whenever you will revise, it makes things clear. Okay, so let's say, for example, this is so forget about my drawing. Okay, it's not so good in like I can't make it so good over here on a sheet. So this is, for example, your brain and spinal cord. Okay, and this whole portion is limbic system. Okay, this is limbic system. I'm writing in short form LS. Okay, this whole portion, for example, suppose this is limbic system. Now here at this level you have hypothalamus. Okay, so I'm writing H for hypothalamus. And along with hypothalamus, you know, hypothalamus is connected to the pituitary gland via a thin stalk, which we called infundibulum. And this is this is the pituitary gland. Okay, so now I will make this little hypothalamus, you know, enlarged. Okay, I will enlarge this hypothalamus. And I will divide this into 2 portions. Okay, I am dividing this into 2 portions. Now this is the same hypothalamus, okay, which I've made in an enlarged version. Okay, now this portion, this little fellow, okay, is basic. These are basically, you know, these are called the areas of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus has in posterior and a ventral, or you can say dorsal or ventral. So this area, the back one area, is called posterolateral. So you can write it posterolateral. Okay, if I can write it here, it is, okay, this little fellow is posterolateral. Okay, and then if I talk about this, So you see, when we, and same goes with this one. This little area is called ventrolateral. Okay, ventro. It is easier to write with this one single pen. Okay, ventrolateral. Now this is a bit messy, but like you can make your own notes right now. You can just make this brain and spinal cord version, and this is hypothalamus. Now the importance, why I'm telling you this is the importance of this posterolateral and ventrolateral is that the posterolateral portion of hypothalamus deals with the sympathetic nervous system. It deals with the sympathetic nervous system, and the ventrolateral part deals with the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is where the importance of these structures lies. Okay, so you should know, because we are studying regarding the autonomic centers. Okay, so you should be aware of these two divisions of hypothalamus. One is responsible for a sympathetic nervous system, that is posterolateral, and the other one is responsible for the parasympathetic, and that is ventrolateral. Clear? Okay, now at this particular level, here we have a body, okay, or I can say here we have a nucleus which is optic. Okay, I have this for vision at the occipital lobe. Okay, and just below that and a bit medial, we have the auditory one. So this is auditory. Okay, I'm just writing the short form aud. Okay, and like this one is the occipital lobe, and this one is at the level of temporal. So that is why I'm saying that posteriorly, but a bit in the front, that is, you can say laterally. So this is temporal lobe. So at the level of temporal lobe, you will see this auditory one, and at the occipital, you see this optic one. Okay, but then when we come down, this was in the this everything which we are studying. These things are the region of cerebral cortex. Okay, but hypothalamus is present below the limbic system. I will show you the real diagram also, so don't worry. This is below the limbic system, hypothalamus and pituitary gland. Okay, so these are also important. Then we have this brain stem, in which we have medulla oblongata, okay, and pons and cerebellum. So at the level of medulla, okay, just for example, this is a picture, just for say this is pons, and then this whole thing is medulla oblongata. Okay, this is pons, and in the sides I have this cerebellum. Okay, so the brain stem is comprised of pons and of medulla oblongata. That's how it is. Okay, in the brain stem we do not have cerebellum. Okay, we have pons and we have medulla oblongata. Okay, and we have midbrain, which is present like over here, that connects your pons to the rest of the cerebral cortex, or you can say with the forebrain, that connects your hindbrain with the forebrain. Okay, so if like you have not listened my first lecture of neurophysiology, I have taught this whole organization of the central and peripheral nervous system, which is actually not a part of physiology, but just to make a good base, I have taught that portion in the first lecture of neurophysiology, which is already in your drive. So go through it and you will understand this whole thing which I'm telling you right now in short. Okay, so I may clear these all drawings. Now the let's move to this wait a second. Okay, now let's move to this medulla. Okay, Now they have said you that we have this vasomotor center. Okay, what this vasomotor center is responsible for, it has only one mechanism that you need to remember. We have only one mechanism for this vasomotor center. Okay, and that is it works in response to decrease pressure. Okay, more in response to decrease pressure it works. It do not works in response to increase pressure, because that thing is controlled by these sinuses. Okay, we have these carotid baroreceptors on the carotid sinus. Okay, so and others also. So those things are responsible, they respond to the increased pressure. But vasomotor center mostly responds when the blood pressure is down, and what it do is like it increases the arterial pressure back to 100 millimeter of mercury. So that is the thing you should kind of just make this little concepts over here at this particular level, and definitely you will be studying all these autonomic centers again in every system. Like when you will be studying cardiovascular physiology, you will study these vasomotor centers in there. Similarly, you will study respiratory, pneumotaxic. They have not written apneuistic. There is another center. Okay, at the level of pons, there are two centers. The book has written only one. Then swallowing, coughing, and vomiting centers you will be studying in the GI. Okay, so in micturition in the urinary. So like you will be studying these all once again in too much detail. But for now, you have to kind of make it clear that what how they actually responds to. Okay, then we have if you're clear with these vasomotor center. Okay, it is it works on the arterial pressure. Okay, arterial pressure to raise it back 200 meters of mercury, 100 millimeters of mercury. Okay, but now we move to this respiratory center. When I'll talk about that, you know, we have four we have four respiratory centers. Okay, two of them are present in the brain stem. Two of them are present in the brain stem. So you see they have written over here brain stem and hypothalamus. So two of them are present in the brain stem. Pons is a part of brain stem. Once more, I want to make you clear that our brain stem is basically composed of three things: pons, okay, medulla oblongata, forget about my beautiful handwriting, medulla oblongata, and then midbrain. Okay, so pons, medulla oblongata, and midbrain, these three things makes up brain stem. So we have two centers for respiration at the level of pons. One is the Pneumotaxic Center, and the second one, which is not written here, you can write it in your notes. It is apneuistic. Okay, APNEUSTIC. Okay, this is called apneuistic center. Now let me tell you what they do. Both of their functions are different and opposite. Okay, apneuistic center. Okay, center C. So when I talk about this pneumotaxic center, okay, what it do is, first of all, you should know the location. Both of them are located in pons, but pneumotaxic center is present at upper pons, okay, upper pons. And apneuistic center is present at lower pons. So this is the difference in their location. Then we have the difference in their functions as well. Okay, the pneumotaxic center responds to decrease inspiration. For example, a patient is not able to inspire. Okay, he is not able to inspire deeply. So the signals will go to the brain stem at this at the upper pons level to the pneumotaxic center that the patient is not able to inspire well. So it works for decreased inspiration. These are very little key points which you are asked in your exams, and like we actually mug physiology. Physiology is nothing to mug about. If you will like understand it once, it will help you in every sort of postgraduate exams as well. Okay, and physiology portion in our PMDC exam is very tough. Okay, actually very tough. So because they ask everything so conceptual, nothing, if you'll be like mugging everything, you will not be able to solve that portion well. So you see this little portion of pons has this pneumotaxic center which responds to decreased inspiration. But when we talk about apneustic center, which is present at the lower pons level, it responds to increased inspiration. Okay, it responds to increased inspiration. So these are the things which you need to remember. It responds to increased inspiration. That is, you can say it can also stimulate inspiration. Okay, it can also stimulate our inspiration. So these are the pneumotaxic center at the level of pons. Okay, but when we talk about the respiratory center in the medulla oblongata, okay, it is also a part of brainstem. Okay, we see this, we have, you know, we have this in the medulla oblongata. Just think, for example, this is a medulla oblongata. Okay, here we have fibers. We have some fibers at this level. These fibers are called reticular formation or reticular fibers. Okay, so this respiratory center, okay, we call it medullary respiratory center. This center is located in this reticular formation at the level of medulla oblongata. Okay, so you may remember now regarding the respiratory centers, all of them. In medulla oblongata, we have this one, which is situated in the reticular formation of the medullary respiratory center. Okay, and then it is divided. Why I said that we have four of them in number? Because these respiratory centers are two, and pons has also two. Okay, so in total we have four in number of them. And these respiratory centers, one of them is what we call the dorsal group, because it is present dorsally. Okay, and one of them is what we call ventral group, because it is present ventrally, that means in front, and dorsal is like back. Okay, so one is present posteriorly, which is dorsal. Okay, and one is present anteriorly, which is ventral. Okay, and their functions are also different. When we talk about the dorsal one, it is responsible for inspiration. And when we talk about this ventral one, it is responsible for expiration. So these are the little things which you need to remember regarding their primary functions. You will study in more detail in respiratory physiology, okay, under a control of breathing. But for now, you have to just grab this concept that we have four respiratory centers, two in the medulla oblongata, reticular formation, and two in the pons. Okay. Now, I guess you're clear regarding pons also. Okay, just to repeat it, we have this pneumotaxic center in the upper pons area, okay, and it responds to this decreased inspiration, or you can say it inhibits the inspiration. Okay, and when we talk about this apneustic center, it is present at the level of lower pons, and it stimulates our inspiration. Okay, now I think I should clear this all. It's all messy. So welcome back, students. If you're like if you'll come and leave, then you will not be getting the whole of it. Then you have to go through the recording once again. We just finished this respiratory center and pneumotaxic center and another apneustic center, okay? And just wait for a second. Okay, now let's finish this medulla oblongata centers. Now move to swallow, okay? Swallow, coughing and vomiting. So, okay, I will teach you coughing and vomiting first, then I will go to swallowing, okay? Because this is more. When we talk about coughing and swallowing, we have this gag center, what we call the gag reflex, okay? We have this gag senses in this medulla oblongata, okay? At this region, we have this. So the gag is responsible for coughing, okay? Coughing mainly, okay? Then when I talk about this vomiting center in medulla oblongata, it comes from the above, like it comes from the limbic system, okay? If you remember, we have this fourth ventricle, and with the fourth ventricle, you know, third ventricle, fourth ventricle, and then it further comes down, we have this dentate nucleus in the sides of it, okay? So just say, for example, this is the fourth ventricle, okay? So this fourth ventricle plays a vital role in inducing vomiting, okay? How? If you remember, if you know, all those patients that undergo chemosurgeries, okay, chemotherapies. So because of the chemicals, not only chemotherapies, because even because of drugs, all the drugs we take that induce nausea and vomiting, what they do, we have this chemoreceptor present over there in this fourth ventricle, okay? So this is basically what we call chemoreceptor trigger zone, fourth ventricle, okay? Chemoreceptor trigger zone. So these all drugs and chemotherapies, okay, all these chemotherapies and drugs, they induce vomiting via triggering this fourth ventricle, which is called chemoreceptor trigger zone, okay? And even uh, the radiations, all sorts of radiations do trigger this zone. So we have the coughing, the gag reflex in the medulla, okay? And then we have this this chemoreceptor trigger zone, which we also called as the fourth ventricle, as the vomiting center. So guys, just keep this thing in your mind, okay? And then come to swallowing, okay? I'm clearing this all mess. When we talk about swallowing, remember between the GI tract, okay? Just remember between your GI, gastrointestinal tract, and medulla, there are nerves, there are cranial nerves that are responsible to take your signals to medulla oblongata. The nerves are responsible to take the signals to the medulla oblongata, and from the medulla oblongata to the GI tract. And just remember these nerves, these are important for MCQs. Cranial nerve 9 and cranial nerve 10, okay? Just remember these two names of nerves. Cranial nerve 9 and cranial nerve 10 are responsible for the signals, the stimulus of swallowing to the medulla oblongata. So all these things which I'm telling you, it is not written over here in this book because it's a very high yield book and you will be studying all this stuff in further systems, but like kind of make the most of it to what you're studying at a particular level. Okay, and all these things that I'm telling you are a very important MCQs. Then let's move to, we have done with medulla, okay, completely, and we have done with pons as well. Now let's move to midbrain. Okay, let's move to midbrain. And when we talk about midbrain, we have this micturition center. Now, if you remember, I told you yesterday, who is doing that? Don't do it. Okay. I told you that we have, this is the bladder, okay? And these are the sphincters. Yesterday, if you remember, I told you we have alpha 1 receptors present over here, and we have beta 1 receptors present over here, okay? In the detrusor muscle of the bladder, we have beta 1, and at the sphincter level, we have alpha 1. Now, what alpha 1 do? The overall function of alpha 1 was constriction and contraction, right? So alpha 1 receptors will constrict this sphincter so that urine may not flow out. That means this is a mechanism of urinary retention. You're retaining urine into your bladder. But at the same time, beta 1 receptors will do the opposite function. They will relax your detrusor so that your bladder do not feel pressure. Okay, you know, now the next topic which we will be going through will be sensory receptors. The next topic will be sensory receptors. So after completing the cells of the nervous system, our third topic of today will be an overview of sensory receptors. In that you will be learning regarding the pressure receptors. So we have these pressure receptors on the bladder that makes you sense that now you need an urge to urinate. And when your bladder is relaxed and your sphincters are constricted, uh, you you don't feel the urge to urinate. But the opposite things goes on when you have to urinate. So the effect is negative at this level and the effect is positive at this level, okay, in no urination. But when you have to urinate, the effect here becomes positive. That is, your detrusor feels pressure, it is constricting, okay, and because of the constriction of, because it is full of urine and the urine is exerting pressure on the walls, so you sense that pressure, and that pressure goes all the way to the midbrain. That pressure will go all the way to the midbrain and you will feel, okay, now I have to urinate. Your midbrain will sense the signals to this alpha 1 and they will relax. That means the effect will be negative here. And when they will relax, they will like open, you will urinate. So this is how your midbrain responds to micturition. So all these work which is going on over here, the signals are going to the midbrain, okay? So this is what you need to remember. Okay, then we have hypothalamus. Okay, people, if for instance, we are going to reach 40 minutes to our lecture and we have 9 minutes, 22 seconds left. If we will, the recording will end after 40 minutes due to the rule of Zoom application. So you have to kind of join this room back again. The link is given to the WhatsApp group and just click that and come back again in the same room, okay? And I will add you people here. So if you're talking about hypothalamus, we have this temperature regulation center. Now this is very important regarding the hypothalamus, people. So I'm gonna show you a diagram which has all the receptors written in it. I think I have it saved. Wait a second. We don't have it here. Okay, I'm just kind of looking if I save that picture. Wait a second. There was a really good picture from the Snell Anatomy Review book, and it was really good. It has all the nucleuses to hypothalamus and can save your life for all sorts of MCQs. I hope I've just put this in this PDF. No. Or yes. Yes, we have it. Okay. Let's take a look on this chart. It is very important. Now you can see these are the hypothalamic nucleuses, okay, and their functions. So you over here in the book, we will be studying temperature regulation center and thirst and food intake regulatory center. So first I will tell you regarding the temperature, thirst and food, okay, and then I will tell you about the other nucleuses. So now you see here, you can see the temperature regulation thing. Where is my pen? Okay, now you see here we have this regulate temperature, response to heat, response to cold. Okay, so what is the nucleus that is responsible? These are all nucleuses are present in the hypothalamus. Okay, this is an anterior hypothalamic nuclei which regulates temperature. That is, it has a response to heat. When your body feels heat, for example in this kind of weather which we are having it right now, uh, the signals, your skin sense heat, okay, and these temperature receptors present in your skin send those signals to your all the way up to your hypothalamus into the anterior hypothalamic nuclei, and then it gets this response that okay, body is heating up, and that is why we say hypothalamus is it functions as the homeostasis of our body. It regulates temperature. In response to it, it will bring some temperature down, and it will induce sweating. It will induce sweating. Okay, so all those signals that will the stimulus is gone over there, and then it will generate a response, and that response will be sweating, and you will have this dilatation of blood vessels. Okay, when you sweat, your blood vessels of the skin dilate. Okay, so this mechanism which is regulating your temperature, that is high temperature of your body, is via this nucleus which is present in the hypothalamus, called anterior hypothalamic nuclei. Okay, and similarly, when you feel cold in winters, okay, and your body needs to retain heat inside, so that your internal temperature of your body is maintained. That's what we call homeostasis, right? So in order to do that, there is another nuclei present in the hypothalamus that do that work, and that is posterior hypothalamic nuclei. So you see, we have two nucleuses, anterior and posterior, that responds to temperature, that regulates temperature. So you have to remember the word heat and the word anterior. Okay, you have to remember the word cold and the word posterior along with it, because this is the anterior hypothalamic nuclei and this is the posterior hypothalamic nuclei. Okay, so this is the thing you need to remember. Then the other one was thirst and food intake. Okay, so I'll take you to eating and drinking. Now you see, we have some set, we have three nuclei. We have these three nuclei, okay, that are responsible for eating and drinking. So you have to remember these: lateral, medial, and then again lateral. So we will study lateral first because it's doing two functions. Okay, the lateral hypothalamic nuclei is doing two functions. It is initiating eating, okay, and it is increasing our food intake. That is, it is the, we can say it is the hunger center. Okay, whenever you feel hungry, oh my god, my stomach is, you know, empty. When your stomach is empty and all the acids are releasing inside your stomach and you feel like, I want to have food now, so all those signals go directly up into your hypothalamus to the lateral hypothalamic nuclei, and then you eat food. Okay, same goes with drinking. Whenever you are thirsty, your mouth is, you know, dry, your saliva is not being produced, and now you feel that I need water. Okay, and that word, that sentence that comes out from your mouth, or that feeling you have that I am thirsty, all those signals go high up to the hypothalamus, to this lateral hypothalamic nuclei, and then it initiates the response that leads you to drink water. So you see how beautiful our human body is made, and we have every thing such in such a good order going on inside our body, and we are totally unaware and non-thankful of this. Okay, then we have this medial hypothalamic nuclei, which inhibits. Now this is important, it is not initiating, okay, it is inhibiting. It inhibits eating and reduce food intake. That is, it is the satiety center. Now you're eating a lot of food and your stomach is getting full, and then you feel like, okay, now I don't want more food. I'm done with eating, and you get up from the dining table and I'm done with eating. So you're reached your satiety. So how your brain will know that you have reached that level? The pressure receptors present on your stomach will feel that, okay, now it's full, and that response will go high up to this brain, to the hypothalamus, to the medial hypothalamic nuclei in the hypothalamus, and then you stop eating. You get up from the dining table, I'm done with eating. So this is how your hunger and your satiety works. This is how your temperature, your response to heat and cold work via these. So we have read these 5